We'll talk about the great comeback that you had, but gee, what a weekend of footy. What a weekend
sensational.
of footy,
Yeah, absolutely. So the top four obviously taking shape, Gaz. I think it's almost locked in now. But where all the action's happening from about 5th through to 14th, isn't it? It's quite amazing. You actually look at the ladder.
Because Buck sorted this out about 3 weeks ago. He spent he spent 5 days on it.
You know what's exceptional? We've got Geelong there, and then Carlton and Richmond that are all got a draw.
Yeah.
So their percentage does matter.
Does matter.
Usually when you have a draw, the percentage is taken out of it. But right now, it's still, there's draws, there's percentage, and obviously points in at the first instance.
The fact that Carlton's played West Coast a couple of times, there's a big discrepancy in the percentage there between Carlton and Richmond. Essendon's an interesting one. They've got West Coast and North Melbourne the next 2 weeks. So they're not out of it. You know, all of a sudden you'd expect them to win those games.
Where are you putting the line down? Where are you drawing the line under? Is it under Sydney there?
Yeah, it is. So. Yeah. I think we line it out before Gold Coast.
Adelaide and the Gold Coast probably rule themselves out. I was thinking about this today. You know, long way to go, but Collingwood essentially finished on top of the ladder. I don't think there's going to be too many arguments with that. And Melbourne now look like 2 games and percentage ahead of 5th place Western Bulldogs. So you've got a situation 5 games out where you almost know it's going to be 1v4. I'm just wondering, Melbourne will keep coaching, the coaching group will keep doing what they're doing. I won't mention it to the players. Do you put together a little secret hit squad of 4 who just spend the next 5 weeks just looking at Collingwood? Just go and bang, let's unpack them. Not that there's many great secrets to them, but is that the sort of investment that you get if you did that 5 weeks out?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of more surveillance that would go on, but the Oppo scouts that are in place would be taking the head of those missions, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
well, I guess my point is, would you take it to another level if you knew, and it's not locked away, but they're that good, Collingwood? Could you, 5 weeks out, could you just put together a hit team of 5 and just go, righto, just go and do work like it's never been done before on this group?
Well, you'd be looking at the rest of the top 4 if you were. Yeah, you never know. You want to be able to win that first game, go into the preliminary final, but you've still got that pre-finals bye, which gives you 2 weeks. And sometimes, definitely there's going to be a part of the football department that's going to be absolutely focused on it, but there's still a part of maintaining that flow of a week-to-week structure and understanding that you're going to have plenty of time to face your qualifying and to look for who your qualifying final
What about game styles? Like, would you alter your game style to be better equipped for those teams that you might be playing? Is that too much?
Maybe if you're coming up against Collingwood or Port at the moment, you might. But then I'd say that Brisbane and Melbourne would be pretty confident in their own capacity. They wouldn't really be thinking like you want to change too much if you've been a top 4 side.
I doubt whether they're thinking like that. It was just a thought bubble I had today. And this was a strange one when you're this far out. You potentially know who you're going to play. Righto, big questions. We always have some coming out of this round. Let's kick off with you, Big Fight.
Yeah, what can Carlton learn from Port Adelaide? What they did against Collingwood? It was a cracking game.
Or the rest of the comp for that matter, as we were just talking about.
Yeah, Saturday night. It was a cracking game, wasn't it? It lived up to the hype, no doubt about it. It was a little bit wet, but it was still a high-scoring game. It was fast, it was quick. It was probably as close to finals footy as you'll see all year. And it was interesting because we come up against Collingwood and we spoke about their defence, how good it is last week, and often Darcy Moore gets mentioned. But interesting, I wonder, this, to me, it looked like it was definitely a strategy coming into the game, Port Adelaide, to kick to the grass a bit more. Certainly lower the eyes. Don't throw any high balls up in the air, Bucks, to bring the likes of Howe and Moore into the game.
Well, I think that their stoppage structure was to hold 6 forwards forward. They even crossed wings at times, so they kept Josh Daicos and Sidebottom busy. And the whole idea was to get their forwards in behind and force the high defenders of Collingwood to be running back towards Port's goal and not start their momentum back towards Collingwood.
So Jeremy Howe, 2 intercept mark. Howe 1 intercept mark and Darcy Moore 2 intercept marks, and it's their fewest for the year. Those first ones looked like to me very much what you're talking about. The first 3 were let's go short, and then the ball actually didn't hit the target, but that was okay. Last one from Houston was more like it. When you got to bang it in, he elected to bang it to ground rather than bang it high, which I think is what you're getting at.
It was interesting. So it was the Pies' worst ball movement game for the year. We know how great they are moving from one end of the ground to the other, and part of that reason is because that's how they start their running plays with that initial intercept mark.
If Port Adelaide were had to be plus 20 in contested ball to bring that game style to light, I think that would be a red flag because Collingwood were able to withhold it. But the contested ball was about even. So that's all that Port needed to do was even up contested ball in able to enforce and impose that game style for long enough. And they could have won the game.
So 47 times they exited their defensive 50 and only went inside 54.
Collingwood.
Yeah,
That's
Collingwood.
right,
That's a win. I know
a big win, yeah.
I know Port Adelaide didn't win, but that's a
Yes.
win.
Absolutely. Another one too is obviously Charlie Curnow's the big. He's going to be the big storyline going into the game. He doesn't have Aaron Mackay on Friday night, so. Darcy Moore took 10 intercept marks in the round 10 clash. He had 16 intercepts for the game. Murphy had 8 intercepts. So he's going to play a pivotal role, at least bringing the ball to the ground, but certainly stopping the Collingwood players from intercept marking.
Yeah, that'll be a marquee matchup next Friday. There's no doubt that we will see those two on each other for quite a deal. And Curnow's in great form. I think as Carlton have improved and have had some big wins, Curnow's strike power looks to have gone to another level. Darcy Moore would definitely be his opponent.
So let's get back to your question. What have they learnt then? So you know that Moore and Murphy as a combination are elite. So they're separating. Maybe no Silvani. We know there's no Harry Mackay. So it's going to be a challenge. To try and engage Murphy to make it a genuine one.
Well, maybe it'll help because they'll be less predictable, Carlton, the way they do enter into the forward line. So you just saw
they've
there.
Got to be genuine. They have to be a genuine target. Otherwise, they'll just drop off and let them go. So that win they had a couple of weeks ago against Port Adelaide, it was Jack Martin who all of a sudden became genuine. He became a third tall, genuine target. So
if they learn from Port, they'll hold 6 forwards forward. Now that won't matter as much whether it's tall or small. They just need to make every Collingwood defender accountable, and even the sweeping wingman at stoppage at times, and be prepared to take the contest towards the goal.
They also learn from Port in terms of what they do with Nick Dacos, the matchup. So Willem Drew went to him for 3 quarters. Not a tagger, more of a run with, you would say, but he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I reckon he was close to a run with. He locks in a fair bit and the comparative one for Carlton would be Hewitt. And he's probably more a run with because he likes to find his own ball as well. But I think the best tagger / run with. Actually, they still need to go and find the ball themselves. You can't afford to have an absolute lockdown who isn't an offensive threat the other way. And Hewitt's been coming back into Carlton's side, I think, has played that role exceptionally well.
He has to get the job on Dacos, doesn't he, Gaz? Hewitt?
Yeah, well, someone has to. So I think that's what... So you're asking the question, what did we learn? So let's tick them off, hit the ball to ground if you're in doubt. Make sure you get the contest with Moore. Go to Dacos.
He's just too good a player.
And you've got to bring heat. You've got to bring pressure.
Got to bring the heat, absolutely. And that's something that Port's increased pressure has been sensational. So obviously, round 2, 162, well below AFL average. That was their first game against Collingwood where they smacked off the park. 190 on the weekend, which is fantastic. But this is an area of the game that's really improved for Carlton, Gaz. Now, their pressure early in the season was horrible, really. Round 1 to 13, 14th in the comp. That's not going to get you into a final series. But since round 14, 3rd in the competition. They've been sensational. Sam Doherty went 4 out of 8 tackles on the weekend. Fogarty's been great. So they've got the players capable, and they're going to have a smaller forward line to bring that heat, Gaz.
Tick there, right there, which is great. And the man I call Sam Powell Pressure, not Sam Powell Pepper, Sam Powell Pressure, he leads the way. I mean, if you're looking for the template, he's the man. Yeah. So he was a wrecking machine again. Inside 50. Collingwood are so good that they can handle pressure pretty well. But even he put the fear of God into a few of them. So that's the sort of stuff that they're going to have to bring. So again, boxes ticked. You got to bring heat. You got to bring it either individually as a team and power pressure. But look at this wrecking ball.
Power pressure, 8 tackles. Willem Drew had 16 tackles. The Koroyd Flyer. He's an absolute machine. And I've got a little gem for you after we finish here with Sam Powell Pressure.
Yeah.
I've got a little gem for you, which I know you'll like because...
I'll be the judge of that.
You've got to have a little bit of luck. You've got to have a little bit of luck in this game, Gaz. And Collingwood, against their direct opposition, any given games throughout the season, they are their most accurate team in the competition, and their direct opposition on the day is the 18th most accurate team, or the most inaccurate team in the competition. So there you go.
And whilst we're mounting a case for how you beat Collingwood, they won that game when the opposition imposed a different game style on them to how Collingwood have been winning, which is exactly what Collingwood need to prepare themselves for what they're going to face in September.
No doubt. And mind you, when you got Jamie Elliott, it helps. Get the goal-kicking accuracy. He's one of the great pressure players of all time. He's just an unbelievable kick on the weekend.
Well, he is.